Português, mas vai ficar meu vídeo One, two, three. Hello, welcome to another episode of our podcast. O que sei sobre tigres e dragões, what I know about tigers and dragons, and today we will have strong emotions running here. We have an audience, a live audience here in the studio. Lara is here. Let's give André and Basílio a hand of applause.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you.
Senhores e senhores, obrigado.
Bom, a gente está aqui, a gente
Well,
segue nessa toada,
we are here making history again in our YouTube channel with these fantastic people that we have been inviting to share their knowledge on martial arts and traditional Chinese culture. And the person who's here is bringing us much joy because the master we have here, or Shi Zheng, who's here, he is a very important part of the creation of Peng Lai in Brazil, organized by André, Basílio, Ellen, Márcio. And we all have in Master Kevin a very important architect who helped us to find Master Shi, and who also helped us to bring him to Brazil 17 years ago to give birth to Peng Lai Brazil. It's almost Lara's age. So, Master or Shifu Kevin or Shi Zheng, thank you for your presence here. Welcome to Brazil. Welcome to our school and welcome to our podcast.
Thank you.
Who wants to start? Let me just make a comment. I always think that his microphone is too far from him. Why is my microphone so close to my mouth and his is not? Because he knows how to talk. He talks well. I will also thank you. I would thank you, Shifu Kevin. But I want to ask you first, our audience, to please assign to our channel. We have amazing people as guests in our podcast, sharing knowledge generously. And we simply need you to support us by clicking on the video, liking the video, and please sharing it, so we can share this knowledge. This is the idea. Thank you. Any other considerations? Yes, I must say that this is a very important moment, because here we are closing an important cycle in our podcast, because we had our master here, and now we have our older brother here, who is a very fundamental part of the Peng Lai school as we see today, very active and resilient as it is. Also about Peng Lai, it is worth noting that Peng Lai in Brazil, through Master Shi and through Master Kevin 17 years ago, became a moment of shedding waters in Kung Fu in Brazil. We had many masters here before, from China and Brazilian masters, but since the establishment of Peng Lai, it becomes possible to the idea of the possibility of bringing masters from China and Taiwan to Brazil became real, and this is something I want to mention. And again, thanking Márcio, Basílio, and André and Ellen for making this possible, and of course, always thank you, or Shifu and or Shi Zheng. And we say that China used to be, and that now China feels closer to Brazil, while there's many masters coming, and we are being able to build these bridges, and grow closer. But if you do not know Shifu Kevin, I will share his a short biography of his. He's a distinguished martial artist in the world of martial arts, especially in the Tang Lang Quan lineage. He's a researcher. He speaks Chinese, Mandarin Chinese fluently, and he is probably the first disciple of Master Shi from outside China and Taiwan. I think he got in Taiwan when he was 21 years old.
Yes.
And now he's about, I don't know, 50 something. We are going to talk about this later. And he is based in Taiwan today. For people who have never been there, and we had the joy to be there a couple of times, it is a place where traditional Chinese culture is very well preserved. And so this is a brief introduction, and along our conversation we will get to know more about his experience. Who wants to start with the questions? You.
Eu sou host? Então tá bom.
So,
Grande irmão.
so older brother,
Se eu não me engano, 12 ou 13 anos.
I think it's about
Você não vem ao Brasil.
12 years since the 10 years since the last time you've been to Brazil.
Há exato 10 anos que você não vem ao
So
Brasil.
it's been 10
Então,
years.
antes da gente entrar nos temas
And
específicos, eu queria que você
before
falasse
we touching other
como é que você
topics,
está
I would
se
like
sentindo,
to
como tá o
ask
seu
you,
coração, mente,
how is
nessas
your
quase 2 semanas de
heart,
partilha de
mind,
conhecimento com a família Peng Lai?
feeling this moment of sharing again this day in Brazil with our Peng Lai family? And what did you
O que você
find here?
imagina
And
que
what
você
do
está deixando
you
aqui, e o que
do you
você espera levar de
imagine,
volta
or
pra
what do you wish to leave here in Brazil with us? And what are you taking back home with you?
When Shifu Shi Zheng Zhong first came to Brazil, and I spoke to him on the telephone from Brazil, and he told me about everything he was sharing with the teachers and the students here, and I can see that Shifu is very happy. Later, when I come here and I spend time with my Kung Fu brothers and sisters, I can feel that they have so much respect for everybody. They take good care of us, make sure we have plenty of rest, plenty of food, anything we want, they take care of it. And so, as a teacher coming to Brazil, Shifu and I feel like we wish that we can give our heart and soul in the Kung Fu to the students. In the past, when we came here, we focused on teaching the forms. Then later we came and we focused on teaching the weapons. Then we came and we focused on teaching how to use the form, how to use the technique, how to use the weapons. And now, after 17 years, Shifu and I coming to visit so many times, Shifu has grown, I have grown, and we have found something deeper within the Kung Fu. And for my personal journey, I'm 58, and it has returned to the time when I was 13. And I bring more and more spirituality into the Kung Fu. Because as I study the very old Praying Mantis Kung Fu manuscript, I realize that these masters wrote the manuscript, but inside they put something as very spiritual. And if your mind is open, you can understand the meaning of the metaphors. Water, fire, tiger, dragon, the story of different old masters. There's a metaphor inside. And when you feel and you see the metaphor, like a tree, like a mirror, talk about cleaning the mirror, you will find that the Kung Fu training has a spiritual training for your heart and soul. And when you feel the spiritual training, you only want to share it with your students and pass it on.
Ui. Bom, começamos já.
Intenso.
Well, we have started very intensely already.
Eu acho que de maneira muito potente, muito bonita, dá para
It is
sentir
very
isso nos
strong.
treinamentos que eu acompanhei.
It's very easy to feel that strength in the trainings you have been conducting with Márcio, Basílio,
Dá para
and
perceber
André. I can feel
que essa ideia e essa profundidade
that
de
this
se
idea,
conectar
this
a algo
depth
mais
of
profundo,
connecting
muito
to
presente. É
something
muito bonito
deeper
de ver.
is very present
E ao
in
mesmo
what you do.
tempo,
It's very
mesmo eu não
beautiful to
executando a
see it.
movimentação, eu
Although
aprendo
I'm
muito.
not practicing,
Muito
I'm
obrigado.
learning a lot from you also. Thank you very much.
Você pode nos contar um pouco,
Can you
Xuxon, sobre a sua
Tell us
infância,
a little bit more about your childhood.
onde nasceu, quais
Where were
eram
you
as
born?
referências
What
ou
were the references you
as
had
referências
there
sobre artes marciais e como é que
about
surgiu
martial
o seu
arts, and
desejo
how
por
how
praticar
how is it that your desire for martial arts, for practicing martial arts, appeared?
As a child, I didn't enjoy the sports that other kids play. I moved around a lot, living in many different cities, so it was very difficult to make friends. And this made me turn inside myself. And as I turned inside myself, I want to study philosophy, so when I turned 13, I started to read books about philosophy. At the same time, these books on Chinese philosophy somehow seem connected to violent kung fu movies that I saw on television. As a child, the kung fu movies attracted me. I want to learn the techniques. And so I learned kung fu from watching the movies and from reading the books. Until finally, when I was 15, I can find my first master. And even though when I was a kid and I felt the time for me was very difficult, but now we have YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and I can see the news from all over the world, and I see that actually many people, many children have a much more difficult life than I do. We're happy today, but there is war happening all over the world. And in China, there has been war for many times. Each time there is a war, it cuts the culture. And there's only a few people who try to pass on the culture to the next generation. And now, with all of the craziness going on in the world, people like me and Shifu and the Shifus in this room today, we have a great responsibility to pass on this culture to the next generation. Because for some reason, people are stupid and they constantly fight and have war. And this is what causes us to look inside and find peace. We want to share the peace. And somehow we share the peace with the Kung Fu technique, which is a technique of war.
Posso continuar aqui? Vocês vão...
Can I go on?
Bom, cada resposta a gente vai ficar sem...
We are speechless
sem reação,
every
não tem-
after every answer.
Mas eu acho que dá pra...
The answers are making us think.
Eu acho que dá pra gente emendar com
But
outra
maybe
coisa.
we could
A gente
bring
conversou
here
com o
another
Master Shi
thing we have been talking about with we have talked about with Master Shi when he was here, which is a Confucian precept of the connection between the master and apprentice, the father and son, which is the precept of filial piety or filial love. And it would be important for us to hear from you how you see that principle, and how does that connect with the Kung Fu practice and the connection between master and apprentice in Kung Fu.
Are you familiar with the Kung Fu book which we call Lohan Gong? This is like the Bible of a praying mantis. The book also has, yes, this is a part of it.
Isso é uma parte.
The book has another name, which is the robe and bowl transmission. From a very old story where a master, he only had a robe and he only had a bowl. So to demonstrate his transmission of the Buddhism to his disciple, he gave the disciple a robe and a bowl. And so within the Lohan Gong, within the Kung Fu, the book has another name, the robe and bowl transmission. And in this book, it has the idea of the Kung Fu training, how to train your body, how to train the qi and the blood, making the bones strong, and how to train your mind. Inside of the book, it has many concepts and many ideas of Taoism, many ideas of Buddhism. Buddhism talks about turning your mind inside. Forget about your five senses and focus inside. Taoism looks at the world and nature and finds a metaphor between you and nature. For Buddhism and for Taoism, there's not much talk about filial piety, not much talk about how to manage society. But for the Buddhist monk, for the Taoist person, they must live in a society, so they must have some form of government. So in this year, there was a flood. This year, there was a drought. This year, people have nothing to eat. People must be organized. So we must be connected in a society. This is the function of Confucianism. And so within the book, Robe and Bowl Transmission, it has these three things all connected together. When you fight with an army to defend your country, it uses the idea of Confucianism. But at the moment that you must use your sword to kill your opponent, and you wish to keep your heart pure, you must understand the idea of Buddhism and of Taoism. When the war is over and you're old, you practice the technique of Taoism for a healthy body. When your mind is damaged from the damage of the war, you practice the technique of Buddhism to purify yourself. But for the society to work, you use the idea of Confucianism. Where did you come from? You came from your mother. You came from your father. They took a helpless baby and they raised you up. When they get old, you have the responsibility to take care of them. When we grow up, when we become a master, we must take care of our students. We must take care of the society. These are the ideas of Confucianism.
Muito bom. Queridos, quem vai?
Posso ir?
Pode.
Can I go now?
Em dos nossos treinos,
In one of our
dessa vez,
moments in practice.
O Xixon, junto com o meu Xixon também, o André.
My Shi Zheng together with
lembraram sobre um
André,
e-mail, né, de 2005, que acho que foi o primeiro e-mail,
they
né,
remembered
trocado.
the first email
E eu acho
exchange
que
that we
esse
had.
primeiro e-mail, eu acho
And
que foi
on
o
that
grande
first
embrião,
email
né,
message,
da Peng Lai
that
Brasil,
there was
né?
the
Acho que
embryo
ali
of
foi meio que
Peng Lai
fecundado a Peng Lai
Brazil.
E a gente sabe
It
hoje
was a
que esse
fertile
nome,
moment,
Peng Lai,
and we know
muito
now that
forte,
Peng
né?
Lai is a very
Representa
strong
muitas
expression. It
coisas pro
represents
nosso
many
Shifu.
things for Shifu,
E a gente queria ouvir de
and we
você
want to hear from you
pouco sobre o significado de Peng
about
Lai.
the meaning of the term Peng Lai.
Did you know that Peng Lai
Vocês
is talking
sabem que
about
Peng Lai
an
fala de uma ilha.
Yes.
Okay, so it happened that in this book, Robin Bowl Transmission, after all the training, how to do mabu, how to do a punch, how to focus your mind, on the very last page, it says, if you can follow this, then you are on the path of the sage. You are on the path of the immortal. And you are on the path to cross the ocean and visit the Queen Mother on the island of Peng Lai. So the island of Peng Lai becomes a metaphor for heaven. And it is a place that you can go if you can follow the ideas in this book. And the idea in the book is focus your mind, dedication to training, follow the schedule, working for the society. Now for me, I have entered the new stage of my life. My daughter, my youngest daughter, is 20 years old. So I have left the big society, I have left the big city. I went all over the mountains of Taiwan, looking for a mountain with very few people. I found a mountain under a cliff. People don't like to live here because during the typhoon, pieces of the cliff will fall down on the houses. Many old streets are now buried. Oh, this is the place for me. This is the place for me to say my message. And after reading about the people in the book Robin Bowl Transmission and studying the literature, I want to do something that's good for society. Something big, like a Coca-Cola, but I'm not a capitalist. How can I do this idea and yet I don't get rich? One thing that really hurts me, one thing that bothers me, one thing that brings out my anger is that people don't respect the earth. They take a piece of food, there's a piece of garbage. They throw the garbage. Why is there garbage? How can I fight this? Every single man, woman, and child on the planet Earth drinks every single day. Soda or soy milk, water, everybody drinks something. To make this drink profitable for a corporation, we put it in a bottle. After the customer takes a drink, finish with the bottle is garbage. On the ocean, there's an island of garbage. Under the ocean, there is a mountain of garbage. There are mountains of garbage. So much garbage, we burn the garbage and we make smoke. We make a mountain of smoke in the air. Is this the correct way for humans to respect the earth? Do you believe in God? Do you believe that God gave us this earth to take care of? How do you take care of the earth? Okay, I have an idea. Everybody wants a drink. Taiwan has the best tea in the world. I will take this tea, I will put it in a glass bottle, and I will ferment it into kombucha. I will put the picture of the most powerful Kung Fu master in the world on the bottle. You know, the most powerful Kung Fu master in the world is a Sun Wukong. I have Sun Wukong on the bottle. But where does my bottle come from? My bottle comes from the garbage. On the bottle, in glass, some bottle is brown. It says Budweiser. Some bottle is green. It says Heineken. My Kung Fu spirit is a fighter. My Kung Fu spirit is a rebel. I'm fighting, and I'm going to put my monkey kombucha on the big corporation's bottle. Put my drink in this glass bottle. And I will tell everybody, Heineken, you don't like it? Come and get me. Budweiser, you don't like it? Here I am. Come and get me. This is the spirit of fighting that I have now. To keep my spirit strong, get up in the morning on the quiet mountain with the monkeys and the pigs, wild pigs, and train my Kung Fu. This visit to Brazil for me, on the one hand, to inspire everybody here. On the other hand, to take the inspiration of happiness and love and hugs from Brazil back to Taiwan and put it in my food. I wish to make a food of compassion. My food shows love for the earth. My food shows love for the animals. When you come into my future restaurant, no animals suffered to make anything in this room. No animals screamed, no animals cried. This is my attitude, the idea of compassion.
Só uma pergunta, esse restaurante vai ser lá
So where will be the restaurant? On top of the
vai
mountain?
ser
Where will it be?
I thought about making the restaurant on top of the mountain.
yes.
My house is very old. There's holes. The snakes come inside. Scorpions, mosquitoes, many bees. Because there's no poison in the air. There's no fertilizer. Many kinds of bees come in. And so I think maybe I can make this house into some special restaurant. But actually the truth is, I don't know how to do it. I don't have the skill to fix a house. I don't have the money to hire somebody. So I will come down the mountain in the town. There's a train station somewhere where you can walk from the train station, a very small town. I would like to have the restaurant there. Maybe someday the restaurant can be up on the top of the mountain. If somebody will join me who can help me to make an old broken house into something nice.
Eu vi o André e o Basílio levantando a mão aqui. Acho
I
que
think
eles
I think they raised their hands. André and Basilio, I think they want to help you.
I pay you in hamburgers.
Vou pagar em hambúrguer.
Chichon, uma curiosidade. Quando eu estava em Taiwan pela última vez,
Just a curiosity, when I was in Taiwan the last time, I remember that in Taipei I was looking for a restaurant, a vegetarian restaurant. And I would ask people about a vegetarian place to eat.
os donos dos restaurantes me perguntavam,
And the owners
"Você
would ask
consome
me,
mel?
do you
Você come mel?"
eat honey?
Claro. Eu achei muito curioso
And I
essa
was very
pergunta antes de me
curious
dizer, não, aqui
about
é vegetariano, aqui não é. Eu
before
queria que você falasse
answering
pouco
my
sobre isso
question,
pra
they would
nossa-
ask me if I did
nossa
eat
audiência.
honey. Do you know what's that? Can you tell us
Yeah.
more about this?
Yeah. Actually, I don't eat honey, and I learned a lot more about the idea of why I think it's not good to eat honey after I moved to the mountains. Because where I live, there are no honeybees. There are some bees, they make their house with dirt. Some bees will make their house in a rock. Some bees make their house with a paper. All of these bees live together around me. There's some bees that are very, very big and very scary. And they are free to make all of the trees, the fruit trees, the coffee trees, all of the flowers, so many things growing where I live. When you make the honeybee, and the honeybee will try to make honey for their children, but you come and you take the children's food, and then you put sugar water, and you feed the children sugar water. Can I do this to your children? Take away your mother's milk? Take away your healthy food? Give you just sugar water? You know it's not good for a human. It's not good for a bee. Humans and bees and all the animals, we make a cycle. Like the 5 cycle, 木火土金水, wood, fire, earth, water, and metal. We make a cycle. The bees help the plants. The plants help the people. It goes around and around. When the people die, the human body becomes food for the plants. When the plants grow, the plants create food for the humans. This is the natural cycle. This is something that you understand in Taoism. And so when I have a chance to speak with a professional honey farmer, the honey farmer become vegan, and he told me he won't be a honey farmer anymore because it's very bad for the bees. You raise so many bees, you feed them sugar water, and you take their honey. What is in honey that is so magical that humans must have it? I know, it tastes delicious, but where's the magic? What's the magic vitamin? I cannot get it from the flowers. The bees eat the flowers. Can I eat the flowers and the fruits? My first inspiration, when I woke up in Brazil, at Andre's house, Ellen said, "Would you like some vegan honey?" Huh? Vegan honey? Really? I'm very curious. How did you make vegan honey? What are you gonna tell me you were just nice to the bees? No, I cooked this honey. It has no bee honey, but it has apple. Try it. Oh, this is really good. And I put it on some very delicious Brazilian bread. What is this bread called? I learned this Brazilian word. It's called francês pão.
Pão francês.
Francês pão. When I go to Taiwan, I want to, anybody listening who knows the secret recipe, make this delicious bread. I want to make this bread in Taiwan, but I won't call it French bread. I'm gonna call it bashi pang. And people in Taiwan never heard of bashi pang. They will ask me, bashi pang? What is bashi pang? I got a story. Let me tell you a story. Oh, this story. I'll never forget this story. Then you got them. They remember something. They remember an interesting story. They tell their friends, and you have your chance to put a beautiful idea in somebody else's mind.
Outro tema que a gente trata bastante aqui,
Another issue we talk a lot about in this podcast, and you have mentioned already, is about
Uda.
Uda.
A gente fala sempre que
Uda.
Oh, Uda.
a gente fala sempre que Kung Fu não é só
And we
soco
always
e
say
chute.
that Kung Fu is not all about blows and kicks.
E aí a gente queria entender pouco sua visão
And we
sobre
want to
o
learn
Uda,
about your vision of martial virtue, and how does that is seen, or how does that shows itself within praying mantis Kung Fu.
When I was studying Chinese and I'm trying to learn how to write the Chinese characters, I want to know how can I remember the character. And the character De is a very important character. I learned this character when I was 13. If you look at the character, there's the number 10. There's an eye. There's a heart. 10 eyes looking at you. Just imagine there's something that you did, and what you did maybe you thought it was a secret, but the next day it's on the front page of the newspaper. It's on this 8 o'clock news. Is what you did something that is good enough for the front page of the newspaper? Would you feel shame about what you did? The character Wu is a Chinese character that includes a weapon. It's about fighting. It's about war. So how do you do the right thing, the good thing, with virtue? This Wu-de is talking about when is the correct time to use your fighting skill. And Wu is also a metaphor. It's a metaphor for something that you must fight. For example, a few minutes ago, I said that my fight is about fighting for the animals, fighting for vegan, fighting for keeping the world beautiful. I do that with recycling the glass bottles. I do that with opening a vegan restaurant. This is a fight. In the morning, I must wake up. I must be organized. How do I go today to make myself a success? On the day that I must fight, am I fighting to protect somebody, or am I fighting because my ego is hurt? This is about Wu-de. Does this answer your question?
Muito.
A lot.
Obrigado.
Thank you.
Quer seguir?
Não, acho que essa vai ser feita com vocês.
João, a gente escutou você
Older
comentou em
brother,
algumas visitas
you
às
have
escolas
said while you were visiting many Peng Lai schools, you have told us about
como foi o seu encontro
how
com o Mestre Shi,
was your first meeting
Eu queria
with
que você
Master
resgatasse
Shi.
isso aqui pra gente, como se-
I would
como
like
você
you to talk
conheceu.
about this again, to tell us how you met him and what was your motivation to go to Taiwan.
My first motivation to leave America and go to China, in those days, Taiwan was called Republic of China. So the difference between Taiwan and China is not so obvious like it is today. I was living at the Kung Fu school in America, training hard with my Kung Fu brothers. My Kung Fu master was very good and he was very strict. And one day, he had a secret video of a famous master. This famous master didn't know my American Shifu got this video. This famous master had very, very old video, 8mm video, to change to VHS. The person who does the change for the video is my Shifu's cousin. So he make an extra copy. He didn't understand. These are secrets, very precious secrets. He just, oh, Kung Fu, I'll make a copy for my cousin. One day, my Shifu comes into our house, which is next to the Kung Fu school, and he said, my cousin just sent me this video. He said it's a Chinese Kung Fu master from China. I don't know what it is. Let's see. For 90 minutes, our mouth was hanging down. We were so shocked. This Kung Fu master had been the champion of China before 1980. And this was all of the Kung Fu that they knew on video. When I saw that video, before it finished, I heard a voice in my head. You are going to China. So I listened to the voice in my head. I told my mom. My mom said, this is impossible. You don't speak Chinese. You have no money. How can you go to China? I told my friends. They laughed at me. But I kept this dream alive. I made a rule in my house. I must work harder. In the morning, when I wake up, when I'm walking to the kitchen to eat, when I'm walking out the door, every step is a Kung Fu step. Every motion is a Kung Fu motion. Every breath is a Kung Fu breath. 100%, everything is Kung Fu. After I told my mother, and I told my friends, I didn't tell anybody else. I definitely didn't tell my father. My father wanted me to sell insurance. One day my father calls me on the telephone and he said, Kevin, do you want to go to the Republic of China? My old friend is there. He said if you go there, you can teach English. Do you want to go? Yes, I'm going. And that's what brought me to Taiwan. I landed in the Taipei airport. There was somebody, a school, they said, if you come to Tainan, you can teach English at our school. I told them what day I'm coming. I told them the number of my flight, but I had to get on a bus. In those days, it's not like convenient. There is no English. Find the bus to Tainan. It was very, very late at night. Looking out the window of the bus, driving for 4 hours, I can see the red light of the altars in people's homes. In my mind, I thought, these altars are all of the different Kung Fu schools. I thought, everywhere's a Kung Fu school? There's thousands of Kung Fu schools. But then, the next day, talking to the people, I found, oh no, this is part of Confucianism. After your parents and your grandparents pass away, you keep an altar in your house with a light, a picture, and a fruit to remember your parents. Oh, it's not a Kung Fu school. Where's the Kung Fu school? Oh, the Kung Fu, I don't know where's the Kung Fu master. That's not easy. Oh no, how am I going to find a Kung Fu master? I asked the people who work at the school, where is there a Kung Fu master? Maybe if you look in the park. When I went to the park, everybody was doing some Kung Fu. They're doing Tai Chi, and I had learned Tai Chi, but I didn't want Tai Chi. I wanted Kung Fu. And some masters, they saw me and they want to push hands with me. Of course, they're better than I am, but I want to learn Kung Fu. Where am I going to find Kung Fu? So, I made my next mission. Every night, after I teach English, I walk around just asking people. I walked into a restaurant called Pierre Pizza. Chinese pizza. And I said, do you know where there is Kung Fu? I'll eat a pizza, and where's the Kung Fu? They made a telephone call, and a taxi came. I don't know what they said. The taxi drove me for 40 minutes outside of the city and stopped somewhere in the countryside. A man came to the taxi and took me upstairs. And here is where I met Shifu Shi, and I met Shifu's teacher, Shifu Wang Juezhen, for the first time. They were having the inner door, the secret class, only for the disciples, only for the advanced students, teaching the very advanced Kung Fu. They were so surprised. An American came here? You want to learn Kung Fu? Okay, show us your Kung Fu. I showed them the Kung Fu that I had learned in America. They politely clapped. Oh, very good. Then They showed me their Kung Fu. It was praying mantis. Shifu's best students of those days. I had never seen such awesome praying mantis Kung Fu. It was the best. I just really wanted to learn this Kung Fu so much. Then they said, please sit down. The old Master Wang will get up and will teach now. He's teaching a technique from Baguazhang. So they practiced Baguazhang, learned one new technique, and I just sit there very politely watching. After they teach the technique, they sit down to talk to the Grand Master and drink some tea. And they said, do you know what this is? I had seen it before. I said Baguazhang. And they said, now please come up and demonstrate for us what you just saw. I don't know it. I didn't learn it. I only see it one time. How can I demonstrate? Don't worry, we won't judge you. We just want to know if you are smart. Okay, I felt this is the time. This is the chance. This is the time when the master, the great master, is asking me to do some Kung Fu. I calmed down. I walked up. I walked in a circle. I tried to copy their feet. I tried to copy their hands. I opened my eyes and put in all my effort. Probably it's not very good. But I think they can see I tried very hard. So Shifu accepted me as a student, and he even let me join the middle inner door class. There's the basic class, the middle inner door, and the advanced inner door. The advanced inner door, I cannot go. I'm not ready for this. But the other classes, I am welcome to join. And this was how I met Shifu. I cannot speak any Chinese. Even I learned some Chinese, but I cannot use it. And Shifu maybe only knows 3 English words. This was how I started.
That's fantastic. And in a way, this story is connected to with how Basílio, Ellen, André Márcio met Shifu Shi. They also watched a videotape, and then later they met him. And what is the name of the master who was on the VHS tape you watched in the United States?
Remember?
Yes, I remember, because the son is the most famous. The son of this master is the most famous Kung Fu movie star in the world now. So?
Então é o...
Who? So who is it?
Doni.
Bingo! I hope I don't get in trouble.
Era o pai do Donnie.
It was the father of Donnie Yen.
Mother.
A mother. His
The
mother.
mother.
His mother.
E quando ele foi para Taiwan buscar o Kung Fu, ele já tinha a ideia de que ele queria treinar louva-a-Deus?
And when you went to Taiwan, did you know you wanted to find praying mantis Kung Fu? Or specifically?
Ever since I was about 15 years old, I had a book of praying mantis Kung Fu called Walam Tang Lang. And when I was 18, I joined the Walam Tang Lang Kung Fu school. And I loved training with this master very, very much. I really, really hoped that when I come to Taiwan, that I can continue to train Tang Lang. But I realized that finding a Tang Lang trained master is very difficult. And there are many different Kung Fu styles. And I had already studied with many teachers by the time I was 21, and I realized that the most important thing when you study the martial art, I think, is that you have a connection with your master. Maybe it was not your favorite Kung Fu style, but you really felt close to this master, and you really like this master, and at the end of the class you felt that you get so much. And I feel this is what is most important. So when I went to Taiwan, I kept an open mind. I met the masters for other Kung Fu styles, such as Baji Quan and Ingzhua Quan and Song Tai Zu Quan and the Tai Ji Quan, many different masters. And I found that it was when I met Shifu Shi that the first time I met him, I felt, how can this guy be so proud? Shifu Shi said he was the best master in Taiwan. And I thought, how is this possible? So after he told me this, I made my mission. I will go to every city. Now I speak a little Chinese. I know how to find the masters in the different cities. And I went to the cities and I traveled around looking for the best masters. And when I found my favorite master, far, far away, and I thought, this master is really good. I went to the master and I spoke to this master and I asked him, the best master I found, and I said, who is the best master? And he said, Shi Zheng Zhong. So, I went back to Shifu, and I was honest. I feel, even if I do something that will make Shifu unhappy, best is to be honest. And I said to Shifu, I went around looking for all of the masters, and I found the best master in Taiwan, and I asked him, who is the best master? And he said, Shi Zheng Zhong. And of course, Shifu is very happy to hear this. And this was the time Shifu decided to be honest with me. And he said, the Kung Fu, by the way, this story I'm about to tell you, there's a very similar story that happened 150 years ago in the Qixing Tang Lang family tree, a very similar story. Shifu said, all of the Kung Fu you have learned in America from all of your different masters is not very useful. Well, he didn't say it so politely. He said it's no good. It's fake. And what can I say? And he said, you don't believe me? Attack me! Try me! Test me! And I said, Shifu, you're a great master. I dare not to try. I dare not test. Shifu said, don't worry. I won't hurt you. You're safe. You come with your attack. Go as fast as you can go. I will defend and I will counterattack, and I will do it very slowly. To this day, I never forget that as I came and attacked Shifu with straight, fast punches, Shifu's defend was slow and in circles, moved like a cloud. We are training at Confucius Temple. Everybody can see. Shifu put his foot on my shirt. And he said, after we went for 3 rounds, he said, look at your shirt. Oh, there's your foot. Later, after I had trained for many, many years in Taiwan, and I start to ask the stories about how did the Chinese masters teach Kung Fu in the 1950s? How did the masters teach Kung Fu in the 1960s? And I was surprised to find this, challenging the master in the park, was a part of the Kung Fu culture. Masters such as Wang Songting and Wei Xiaotang and other masters, when a new student came to them, if the student was a beginner, polite, join the class. If the student came to them and they already trained, it was a challenge. And so I heard the stories of the student coming to learn from the master and get knocked on the ground. Not a nice way. And I thought, wow, Shifu was quite nice to me. Later I found my senior Kung Fu brother, the strongest Kung Fu brother we had. He had trained under another master, the most powerful Iron Fist. He can just take bricks and work in the construction site and just break all the bricks with his punches. Shifu said to him, I challenge you. And Shifu beat him, and that's why he was also my senior Kung Fu brother. So I found that Shifu was very smart. When you did something that Shifu doesn't like, he would come up with some way to talk to you, to help you to understand and to continue your training. The most important thing for the training with Shifu, and the most important thing for me when I first talked to Andre on the internet is the student sincere? And it comes to, are you sincere about the training? Which to me is related to what you said about Wu De, the martial virtue. Before you can have the martial arts, you must be sincere in your training.